This video is only part of an unpaid, unbiased, in-depth review from an average rider's perspective, so check out the rest in the link below at thegoodride.com. If this video helps, please consider subscribing and buying through our links, or even better, become a member on YouTube or Patreon. You'll get exclusive access to video review shorts as we test gear, along with a lot of other perks. So thanks for watching, and I hope this review helps. Welcome to The Good Ride. I'm James Beastie, and this is the Nidecker Kayon Plus. Next to it is the Nidecker Kayon X. I rode this in a wide variety of conditions, had it for a long period of time. Thank you, Nidecker. I tested it with my Rift APX, the Kita. I rode this on a wide variety of boards, the Nidecker Mellow, the Escape, the Thruster, the Escape Plus, and a few others here and there, more than I can remember, and wanted to test it in all conditions. I also rode it with my Burton Kendos, of course, to get my baseline in, and I even tested it against the Union Atlas, my baseliner. That's the one I ride every day, so I always start with that before I ride another binding, so I know where it sits on the spectrum. And to give you a short summary, the Kayon Plus is very similar to the Kayon X, except you can see a difference in straps here. Nidecker bought flow, so they're utilizing a lot of flow technology in their bindings and boots. And you can see this has that flow hybrid strap system, but it's just without a quick release high back. And it's kind of an interesting addition to this binding. Personally, I enjoyed the Kayon X a little better. It's a little lighter. The straps were a little easier to manage. Getting in and out of these without a quick release high back is a little more difficult than the regular straps, but they did provide a nice supportive feel. I like the balance of having a nice soft high back along with a medium response base plate, so it had very symmetrical turning and felt pretty good overall underfoot. Other than having a lot of adjustability, you're getting a pretty good binding for the price. So let's talk weight. These are 2.2 pounds. In comparison to the Kayon X, they're 2 pounds. So these are 0.2 pounds heavier. And I think most of that weight comes from the extra straps going on here. Now, when it comes to the Highback Flex, you've got just a nice, soft, super twisty high back. Just has lots of give. In comparison to the Kayon X, you can see the Kayon X is a little stiffer. It's still a soft, easy-going high back, but this one I like a little better. It's just a little bit stiffer, but if you want a super soft, playful high back, this is the one. So when it comes to flex underfoot, butterability, just letting the board flex naturally underfoot, they're doing an okay job here. You can see a lot of this is hollowed out. They have some EVA foam here, some EVA foam here to kind of give some asymmetrical flexing. Then they have a hard plastic that seems like almost rubber or a really hard rubber. It's harder than this plastic right here. It's got a decent flex underfoot. It's not amazing, but it's pretty good for this price point. And I found that while it wasn't the most ultra buttery binding, it did allow the board to flex a little bit underfoot and it didn't feel super dead. Now, when it comes to turn initiation and response, I almost felt like the Kayon X was a little bit more, but this was so close, it was really hard to tell the difference, except for same-day tests. So it really comes down to what appeals to you more. But I did like this soft high back. I like bindings with a soft high back because they often make the response heel to toe more symmetrical. So many bindings have a stiff, really stiff high back, but then they don't have the response to match on the gas pedal and the ankle straps. So you have this really strong turn heel side that's really responsive, but then you go to the toe side and it just doesn't really go. even if you have it set up perfectly on the board, your boot on the gas pedal, everything's set up right. Sometimes they're just lopsided, and this did not feel lopsided at all. It felt very smooth and symmetrical. Now, when it comes to shock absorption and dampness, there isn't a lot here, and looking at it, you would think this doesn't have much shock absorption or dampness at all. But first off, this dense EVA foam pad along the top of the binding really helps with some shock absorption, but not a lot, but it makes the binding feel pretty damp. And then you have this rubber that's almost like hard plastic. That seems to dampen up the ride pretty well too. It's weird, you have this plastic bar in between these two materials I just mentioned, but you have this pad that goes all the way down and in. So on the bar right here, it's not very shock absorbent, but down here, there's just EVA foam all the way through, but then you have this in the middle. So I'd love to see them get rid of the plastic here and just have all dense EVA foam. I think that would make it way more shock absorbent, but having this extra foam in here does something, and it feels damper than it is. And it's kind of the same thing with the Kayon X here. So pretty damp and decent with shock absorption. Now, when it comes to support, I talked about this middle point here. You're not getting as much support as you are with the Kayon X and just a normal ankle strap. This strap is bonded with this here to the toe strap. The toe strap I feel like it does a good job, but not a great job. I wish this was a little stiffer, this material, because you can crank for a long time. I can often, when I get it centered perfectly, just crank past all the way down to the last crank and it's still holding on and stretching around my toe. I'd like that to be a little stiffer, but with this ankle strap, it doesn't go up as high as the Kayon X, but it does provide this really cool feel that is great for freestyle riders, and it matches up really well with the flex of the Highback. So you have that freedom of movement and butterability and an all-around more skate surf style feel underfoot here. I think that's good for those who want some support so it doesn't get weird in uneven terrain, but they also want to feel like they're not wrapped in around their ankle either. So I like the balance of the two. The only thing about these straps is that it's just hard to get in and out of because it's just all connected. So it just feels a little weird. It would take a lot of time to train these and get them to bend properly so it opens up nice and easy. But when you do, it'll be easier in and out. But this extra strap seems to make things just a little more difficult. The ratchets are nice and smooth too. Nothing to complain about here. When it comes to adjustability, there isn't much going on here. You don't have an adjustable gas pedal here that you can slide out like most bindings do. And it doesn't seem like you can do much with the heel to really dial out this binding to your boot's footprint. That's a huge bummer because it's the same with the Kayon X. I wish there was more adjustability there. So instead, you're gonna have to use this disc, turn it this way, and slide heel to toe so you can get the boot centered on your board and therefore have better turning. You can rotate the Highback, you can do all kinds of forward lean if you want, you can adjust the straps obviously, but there's no real adjustability to match the size of your boot. For me at a size 9, I'm kind of in the middle of the sizing, so it was fine. I could turn the discs sideways and slide them tip to tail to get my perfect stance width. But for most people in a different sized boot who aren't in the middle of the sizing guide, you might not be so happy with the adjustability. So overall, I like this binding. I thought it was really fun and interesting. I think I'd be happier with just the regular ankle straps. I think they're just a little bit easier to manage. They're a little bit lighter. I think I like this ASIM system in Flow's quick release high back kind of bindings better, but I think it's a unique take, and I really like how the Highback Flex matched the straps. I liked its overall smooth response. Giving advice on YouTube is very difficult because I need a lot of info from you to actually help. So if you want real advice, fill out the Me Harmony profile in the link below so I can help you properly.